Whoa. I was trying to remember where I left off in the last video, and I think it was my steering servo that I put in and discussing on how that all worked. Um, and I finally I got it mounted, set up where it needed to be. It is disconnected right here for now. So if you pay attention and you're like in this video and you're like, well, it's not done. Well, it's done. The only problem is when there's no power on here, these servos lock up, so to speak, and you can't move them. And then you can't articulate these wheels because this won't move. So in doing some other aspects of what I was working on up here, I needed to be able to turn these. So I just disconnected that. I already know where it is going to go and it's already set up, so it's just a plug and play back in. So the front steering worked out very, very well. So I started to work on the back servo and get it installed here. It is way up underneath this variable resistor for my speed control. Oh, goodness. Get a little pointer. So here it is. It has the round wheel on it, and the wheel has a whole bunch of holes in it around, so I can screw the armature to it that rides around in a fashion to select the different contact points of the resistor. That noise is me fishing out that unit. So that's what it looks like. You attach a wire to it, and then through this piece here, it will go onto this round unit here, and then as the servo is moved back and forth, it will rotate. And I got the old one here that I took out so I can sort of show you what it'll do without having to pick up the car. So the servo's mounted down here where my thumb is, and then this rotates like this. Each one of these little bands is a different resistance, so greater resistance down here, less resistance here, and then this is a bypass which just shunts full power. So slower over to faster, and that's the way these work. And like I said, this is the old one, and you can see it's broke apart. It's seen a lot better days. And this was very crudely put together. Back 30 years ago, I was not was very novice at my abilities. So this is going to go away, and I purchased a new one. It's brand new, still in the box, in the bag. So I got it installed there, and it is mounted, and so is the back servo. All right, and they just screw right into using these mounting holes on the belly on the bottom. Look how pretty that is. That is just phenomenal. Okay. Another thing I wanted to do was I didn't want a lot of wires hanging around like these were back in the day when I did this. They're just, and I see this a lot. Other people, they do what they want to do. That's fine. But I don't like this look anymore. I used to do electronics for a living for a while, 20 years. So now I coil my wires, which is what I've done here. I got these little syringes out of my shop. I use them to put epoxy and glue in little tight places. So I take the wires and I coil them up on the shaft of these syringes here, and then tape them. And I let them sit for a couple of days. And then what'll happen is you'll pull that tape off and pull the piece out, and then you're left with a coil of wire like that. And now when you mount this, you can pull this up where you want to go, and this is a lot more professional looking. I do all of them. This is the unit that's going to be going to my battery. It's my battery plug, and then these two wires are the wires that go to this piece. These are the wires that go to my switch to run my electronics, and then, which is here, and then this is the piece that will go over to the receiver. And I changed out, here's my motor, and my thing is beeping, so I hope y'all can't hear that. I didn't turn my notifications off, but I changed this plug out. I got new ones, and then I dyed them with the rest of my equipment, so I dyed them black. So there is a new plug put onto the original motor. Still runs great. And then this is the other half of it that was dyed, and these are still coiled and taped up. I'll give them a couple of days, and then I'll uncoil them and wire everything up. One thing I'm waiting on is my battery. I ordered a battery today, and until I actually get the battery in and see what kind of connecting pieces are on it, like this is a 3-DIN pin. I think the one I'm getting is 2, so I'll have to incorporate a different plug. So I'm not wiring anything up till I get that far. But I just wanted to touch base on this and let you know the secrets and tricks on how I get things to look the way they look. Another thing I'm going to do a little differently was in between the battery tray, because this is where it was originally, because my servos are medium size, which push this forward. I can't lay a battery long ways because this is in the back compartment. I have to have it this way, so that's sort of hindering me on my battery selection. It has to fit in here. And on that note, when I had this originally done, this is the receiver I'm using. This AM receiver. I'm still going to go old school here and use this. It was down in this area of the car, and then this antenna was ran over to here and put down in one of these holes. Instead, now what I'm going to do, just to dress it up and make it look a little nicer, is I'm actually going to mount this to this back wall right back here on the back of the front of the shock riser. So it's going to be mounted right there, and then this antenna is going to find home in this hole back here like that. And then I don't have a lot of wires crossing back and forth. The only one I'll have is the one going to the front servo, which is going to be coily, and it'll just run right over and plug in. The on-off switch was double-sided taped right over here, but once again, instead of running back and forth, I'm going to take this and double-side tape it over on this side now in the back, and then this plugs right into here. So this will sit, like I said, right up like that, right on top, and that's where that will go. It'll look really good. The cover body will go over it, won't hit anything. It'll look really, really sharp. And so that's where those things are going to go when I get them in. If I make a video of it, then that's even great, but if I don't, and the next time you see it, all of a sudden, like magic, the stuff's there, now you'll know the thought process and how things are going to go. All right, I think that's it for electronics. Yeah, I think that was it. As soon as I get the battery in and figure out what kind of mechanism it goes on, now I've already got everything cut to length. I've got everything wrapped. I'll untape these. It'll be a couple days before the battery gets here, so they'll be nice and coiled up. Their memory will be intact, and then I will wire everything up back there. So looking forward to that.